Now we cut over to the crew of the Uhuru. Everyone was partying last night, and partying hard, to celebrate our dear friend Janet Kessler. And, the sort of Sweet 16 celebration that they throw in Acheron, it's the kind of party where you just sort of pass out where you are, and everyone's pretty chill. Maybe somebody walked around with blankets while a few folks were cleaning up the immediate things that need to get cleaned up. But we have a group of people waking up near each other. I'm going to ask you all who you are playing.
Oh, yeah, we discussed this.
Who of your various crew characters you're playing.
Oh, Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, Jerry.
I believe I am playing Pliff.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Soup Boy.
That is a nickname that Pliff unfortunately has to have.
The fabulous Furnaceer Carlos.
And Mr. Barry.
Whoa!
He's back.
All right, Bathroom Barry, back from Lightfellow Ranch after the vacation. Got back in time for the party and managed still to party enough to pass out where he lay. What happens? Whatever furniture that you were on, and I think I will be Nodoze for these scenes. Whatever furniture that you were on, that you laid down to rest on, is here. Whether, it's like a table or a bench or a pile of hay, it's here. And they're all kind of collected around one another. The equipment that you have, everybody has at least a knife or like a small knife-like implement, because the rule that Gable created unknowingly at the beginning of the Acheron arc is we're not taking weapons to dinner, but knives are acceptable at dinner. Mm-hmm. So to be ready for anything, people have knives, but your regular weapons are presumably back on the ship, wherever the ship may be.
I'll say Barry did not carry a knife. He just has a very sharp fountain pen because the pen is mightier than the sword, and he's an artiste.
Yes.
Especially in the hands of Barry.
Carlos, considering prior to their job as a Furnaceer, was a brewer, so probably has a couple of bottles of moonshine grog that they've previously made, and a lighter. I guess it's a rope lighter, because we don't have like a fuel lighters in setting.
Yeah, I'm almost afraid to ask. Johnny, what does Jerk-Off Jerry have?
A condition.
At least, and probably pants with pockets cut out.
Yeah, I want to say, okay, he's got a bowl, but the bowl does have a hole in it. But so it's like, the thing where you go to the movie and you stick your dick through the hole in the popcorn. So much, but
common thing that everybody does.
He's not doing that
for real
to get other people to touch his dick.
Yeah.
He has that so that he can snack and touch his own dick easily.
Oh, that's a fun invention. That's kind of a fun invention.
Recolors any meal that we've ever had with.
It's for him.
Again, it's just for Jerk-Off Jerry. Yeah. This is just his personal bowl.
And I think if you are eating with him, that's kind of, what's going on.
You know not to serve him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think that's all he has.
Nodoze definitely, as Gable gave the order, like, has a knife, and everything else was like, he's out here for a good time.
Mm-hmm.
I think Barry also has like it's like a brand new composition notebook. Like he's ready and open to new ideas, being struck with inspiration. And so he has like a new notebook that he's like tied to like a satchel and has it like slung over his side.
Mm-hmm.
Pliff, over the course of the night, ended up babysitting like 12 people's drinks. they would hand it to him. Can you hold this for me, please? I just need to go get something.
Mhm.
And so over the course of the night, he just sat at a table that got more and more drinks that got abandoned by people. But he didn't sip any one of them because alcohol makes him... It's not that his tummy hurts. It's that his... he's afraid of his stomach hurting, so he just avoids alcohol entirely, except for the times where he accidentally drinks it because he thinks it's a refreshing water, and then he gets accidentally drunk, and that happens a lot. So he wakes up surrounded by empty glasses, and he feels so badly because he was supposed to protect all of these drinks over the course of the night, and all the drinks are gone, so now he just has a bunch of skeins and loose glassware that he has, and also no coat, no shoes, because he did fall asleep first.
Of course, that is a tradition on the Uhuru as well. Looking around, you can see that you are just in a thick area of forest. The ground beneath is littered with sticks and small plants, not enough to make the forest bed green itself, but the light that filters down through the leaves is quite green. It is warm, it is a summer day, and you have no idea, any of you, where you are.
Well, that party was one to remember. Hold on.
What has happened?
Did we happen to party a little more, energetically than any of us agreed upon?
I feel hazy. I feel like I need to warm up my vocal cords again.
Well, you're not in
remember.
theatre at the moment, darling, so you can go at your own pace.
Jane? Jane?
Oh no, my bowl doesn't have a hole in it anymore. Oh nope, there it is.
I don't want to investigate that. As much as I do want to investigate that further, I know I
It's
don't.
probably
Well, I'll give
worth
you one guess what it's for.
investigating where Jane went, though. Has anybody seen her?
No, I'll go find her. I'll go find Jane.
No, Pliff, you shouldn't.
Pliff just gets up and starts walking around. Jane!
Nodoze hurries after Pliff. We must stay together.
Jane, they've taken my shoes. And typically my shoes are found at the top of the crow's nest, but I knew that that's where they were. So they've been putting my shoes other places, Jane. Jane, I don't have socks either. It's going to get so wet and musty between my toes, Jane.
Please stop. For the sake of all of our headaches.
Once we find Jane, it'll all be all right. So I need to find her. Jane!
This is not right. I remember sleep taking me in the heart of Akarat.
And there definitely aren't any forests like that near there.
Perhaps, maybe a mile away? I do remember trees when we landed, but we rode the carts away from the ship.
Let me ask you something. Do you think that maybe it's possible that I'm just dreaming? And none of this is real?
Carlos goes over and with immaculately manicured to those kind of like sharp point nails, kind of jabs you in the shoulder.
What'd you do that for?
Barry walks over and with his very finely sharpened pen, he jabs Jerk-Off Jerry in the other arm.
Okay, now it just seems malicious.
Well, if you felt
No,
that, I'd
here to
assume
prove a point.
you're not dreaming then, if that hurt.
If I have found myself transported to a fantasy within the mind of Jerk-Off Jerry, I feel as if I shall lay down and pass away exponentially so as to avoid any further exploration into his psyche.
That is a shared sentiment between us both.
Yeah, I guess you're right. If this was a dream, things would be going a lot differently right now.
Oh, okay.
Jane!
I think we simultaneously, all of us start calling for Jane.
Jane!
You know,
Jane!
if you jerk off in a dream, you jerk off in real
For the
life.
love of God, Jane.
Stop
No,
it.
for the last time,
true.
you're the only one that applies to.
No,
all right?
it's called a nocturnal emission, and it happens to the best of us.
You have a condition, though.
Emission.
You have a condition.
Emission.
I often wake up wet, but other people have thrown things upon me of a wet nature, and that I just imagine that it is like.
Carlos's expression actually has a moment of genuine consternation. Pliff, I didn't realize other members of the crew treated you that way. That's honestly
I
unacceptable.
don't think it's purposeful. I just happen to be inconvenient and annoying.
He is tripped on frequently. It just happens.
It is not malice so much as the world is malicious to the idea of my existence. But Jane?
Okay, as I see it, we have two options. We can either move together as a group, trying to reclaim parts of the crew, or we divide forces, decide upon a point where we will meet and move in an arcing direction to meet at that point so that we can sweep through the forest.
A point we don't seem to have any kind of real understanding of where we are. The idea of splitting up seems like adding more complications.
Yes. Although speaking of working out where we are, you kind of mentioned that the kind of like light is like dappled through the trees and making it green. I think Carlos looks at one of the taller ones and give me a second and starts to climb it.
All right, so now we are getting into rolling. This is different. So we do have rules for rolling, and they are based on the crew at full strength. The crew at full strength starts out with 2 green dice and 1 yellow die. However, we're just our group. So right now, as our group, we get 1 green die to everything that we do. However, you can commit your character to the roll that you are making to upgrade the dice that you are rolling with. So what this does is increase the threatened range of your Uhuru death chart roll. So if you fail, each failure counts as 1 D100 roll on the Uhuru death chart. Right now, the normal threatened range for the Uhuru death chart is up to 31, and those are for listed out crew members that we have. You take it to 40 when you commit yourself to 1 level. You can commit yourself to multiple levels to increase your die rolls. So, for instance, it would become 1 yellow dice if you commit yourself to 2 levels. You know what? I'm actually looking at this. I'm going to say instead of starting with 1 green die, I'm going to have us start with 1 yellow die. I think that makes more sense.
We are competent, even if we're not in number.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So that it goes 1 green, 1 yellow.
1 yellow, 1 green, 2 yellow, so on and so forth.
Yeah, exactly. And so on and so forth. So like you can commit yourself to multiple levels, but that means any failures that you experience will be threatening you quite a bit, like this character quite a bit. And, you know, I think it's been a while since anybody's seen the Uhuru death chart. You have no idea how many hit points you have. But for a lot of characters, it's not many.
Carlos is relatively new. The odds of death are quite high.
So how much do you want to commit yourself to this, Nathan?
Yeah, let's commit to this. I think the idea of climbing a tree is not inherently so full of daring do that we need to heavily push ourselves. However, in the discussion that we had previously, I don't think it will be on air by the time that this is on air. I know, in a meta sense, that this could go very, very wrong. So I won't push it, but we'll still do the action anyway.
So how many levels was that again? I'm sorry.
Not pushing it, just rolling the single yellow.
Okay.
Against how many?
I'm going to make it 2 purple.
Sure. Carlos turns to the tree and tries to climb above the canopy line to see what it can see. That's just 3 threats.
Okay.
Failure with 3 threats, I guess.
3 threats, but for success failure, we draw a luminary.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fanning the cards out, Liz. You can see that this is going to be...
Watch his hands. Watch his hands.
The Forest Queen, that makes sense.
Hmm.
The Forest Queen makes perfect sense, and will establish the rules.
I just don't like it here. This place, in this mind state, not enjoying myself.
Yeah, this is horrifying. Dominance, nature, expectation, and order. I think what it is. Nathan, you can decide whether you succeed or whether you fail. What becomes clear to you, almost instinctually, if you reach the top of this tree, you will have to make a sacrifice or make a promise of some kind. If you fail, we're going to be rolling on the Uhuru death chart. It will just be one roll.
Okay. I think, one does not enter into the Forest Queen's domain and then come back unchanged. And in building this space, we decided that part of the rules of this space is that you cannot get above the tree line. Just don't. Breaks the rules.
Yeah. Which
is why I tried to do so. Because I am a drama gremlin. Carlos climbs the tree, and I think this tree happens to be full of pollen-laden blossoms, and it fills the air the higher you go. The density of this pollen gets thicker and thicker as you climb, to the point where Carlos breathes in and then can't proceed any further. Something just stops them from ascending any higher after taking that breath full of pollen-laden air, and then has to descend.
I like that. I like that a lot. I will roll on the Uhuru death chart now. 53?
Out of range.
Out of range. Just barely. Let's see. And had you committed, it still would have been out of range. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Barry is kind of looks a little confused at Carlos. Did you get cold feet on the way up there? What's going on?
Something is wrong with the air. Maybe.
Something is wrong with Carlos. No. And he jots that down. Something is wrong. He's doing a little notation underneath it.
I breathe. It's hard to explain, but upon reaching almost to the canopy, I took a breath, and then something changed, and I just had to come back down. It was against the rules.
Oh, I do stuff that's against the rules all the time.
All right, then you go. You go up
by
there.
all means, climb that tree.
Climb the tree.
All right. Jerry climbs the tree with his ample upper body strength.
Yeesh.
Yikes.
One arm notably stronger than the other, unless you're ambidextrous, I guess.
Yeesh.
Johnny, making this roll, are you committing anything to it?
No, I'm just going to go for it.
Okay. So you're rolling with one yellow die.
And what's the difficulty?
The difficulty is, again, this is hard.
I think I can do it. That is 2 threats and a triumph.
Oh my God.
What?
Hey.
So that nets out, unless the success that was provided by the triumph is canceled out, that should be 1 success too, or did you make that calculation? Because a triumph counts as both a success and a triumph.
I am doing what the app told me, which is...
Oh, okay. So the app did the calculation.
Yes.
Okay. So that means we draw yet another card I fan them out in front of Liz. Liz, would you like to pick
I'd
a
love
card?
to, but I can't. I can see them with, with you.
The Maiden!
There she's here.
Hold on. The 3 cards that we pulled in our forest arc were in sequence the Changeling, the Forest Queen, and the Maiden.
No.
Cursed.
That's good.
Just
It's good stuff.
I want to be her. I don't want to be her.
Okay.
Practicing close up magic.
No, I wish
Card
I had.
tricks. Okay.
I would love to do card tricks.
All right.
Oh, I have no talents.
I want to do card tricks.
Yeah, but say that exactly like Pliff. Well, the Maiden means kindness. So I think ultimately this means it's like kindness, mercy, and generosity, I believe. This is like a positive result for Jerry. You said the other was a threat?
2 threats.
A threat and 2 threats and a triumph. Malicious things that could have happened to you in this moment, you are spared, in part, thanks to the Maiden's kindness smiling upon you.
Well, I know what direction the ship is, but you are right. It is not allowed to go above the tree line.
It's an unusual feeling to be forced to play by other people's rules. I thought the life of a Corsair was specifically getting around that sort of thing.
No, I'll tell you, there are all kinds of places where you're not allowed to do certain things.
Yeah.
And I learned that the hard way and the difficult way.
Like gravity and thermodynamics.
They ignore you.
Like gravity and thermodynamics, I suppose there are some rules that just can't really be broken. But
Let's not jump to any conclusions. I think we should stay right here so that if anyone has left and are expecting us to stay right here, we're their stalwart soldiers and it'll all be fine. We just need to stick around and wait for them to come back.
So you want us to stay here in the forest that is not ours?
Well, I think obviously our friends left, and if we're not here when they come back, well, they won't be able to find us again. So that's just the safest thing, I think.
Wouldn't it make more sense for everyone to make their way towards the ship?
yes, if you find the ship at the very least, we'll be able to, ring the heart bell or do something that would be able to get people's
Perhaps
attention.
even pull the ship into the air.
See, she wouldn't have left me. So she must be away and was expecting me to stay in one place. So she wouldn't have gone. So I can't go away from here because she's not here. So
Pliff. All right, you trying to say that Jane somehow planned your separation?
She always knows what to do. So
Okay, well sometimes Jane doesn't know what's going on. She doesn't have all the answers either.
we're just talking silly now. We're just saying words.
Is this really how you operate on a daily basis? You think Jane just knows all things?
Well, why wouldn't she?
Because she's here on just her left and right feet on planet sphere like all of us,
She's like a human being, man.
with a limited
well.
scope of knowledge and experience.
But he said, she said.
Carlos goes over to kind of Pliff and puts a hand around his shoulder, and there is like something like a perfume coming off them, and then you kind of notice that there's still lots of flecks of pollen across their body, and that seems to be what's emanating this scent. But it is, if nothing else, soothing, very soothing, and in your ear.
Now, Pliff, you don't need to be all stressed. I don't think Jane would like to see you stressed. You do have all of us alongside. Let's just move together as one unit.
Jerry moves over to Pliff's other ear. Yeah, I mean, if you're stressed, I can think of a way that you could maybe relax and calm down a bit.
It's so close. It's like I can feel the lip skin inside of
Just
the cochlea.
Just let me know if you want me to tell you what it is.
No. I know exactly what it is.
Okay.
I know exactly what it is.
Yeah, Jerry probably reeks of pollen perfume as well, actually. So, it's a lot. It's like, if a Lush store attacked you directly.
As far as the ability to navigate the forest goes, we may very well be the only group that is capable. I know Spit has been in the sky a long time. There is a possibility that he has a similar retirement implant to Jerry here, but and the captain, of course. The birds, if they are out, they could also be around. There's a chance that Gable, if any group has the ability to reach the ship, we could, either raise the ship, free the birds. There are things that could be done. Because we have that ability, we must take it.
I agree.
Yeah, I think Nodoze is just talking specifically to Pliff.
How about this, Pliff? The 4 of us will go, and you can stay here all alone. Get some private time.
Yeah, jot down your thoughts. And he offers Pliff his composition notebook and pen. Just by yourself, your own musings. Does that sound good?
Well, see you later, Pliff.
Wait, no, Pliff hasn't had a thought to himself in a long time and has not turned inward very frequently. And that idea of being alone with his own thoughts is so frightening. He runs out in front of everyone else and then just holds a hand up behind him and says, Jane always holds my hand. Who's gonna?
I'll hold your hand.
A big swallow.
I'm not going to speak on that. I was going to save you from that, but no, this is better.
Pliff, I think as your hand closes around Jerkoff Jerry's, you can feel the implant a little bit as your fingers wrap around.
I'll tell you what, his hands are smooth, though.
Gotta be. A lot of lotion,
Uh-huh.
Skyjacks.
Yeah, Toku, you are by the ship itself. Like you are really close. What do you do?
I don't know Toku's perception, but I feel like there's like a running with the leeway that like we've kind of like created this in this perimeter. Toku's just going to take like a running start to like just like leap, hopefully past like the first like wave of snakes, and then just like clear that distance between them and the Uhuru.
Yeah, I think, because you are like right next to the hull of the Uhuru right now, we could even say that Toku is like scrambling to get inside. I feel like that makes sense to me.
Great.
So we'll say Toku leaps through to the interior of the Uhuru. A fun fact about ships that I learned recently is that there was a way to light the interior of vessels that I was not aware of previously. Like I had always imagined that it was lamps, but obviously there would be like an air circulation issue with that and whatnot. Turns out what it actually is embedded in the top deck of most ships would be these glass like prisms that would allow sunlight to pass through to the low decks that essentially give a similar effect to modern day light bulbs. They just, as long as there is sunlight, you would be able to see in those circumstances. So even though it would be like dark in the interior of the ship, like you can really see. And what you see on the inside of the ship, Toku, is an eerie, silent, and still place. There is dust covering what would be the bunks and cargo of the interior of the Uhuru right now. certainly it looks like this place hasn't been cleaned in some time. And that is exacerbated by the fact that vines have grown through the interior portholes and up above the top deck, grasping down inside the main hull of the ship. And more than that, the truly eerie thing is that you can see a number of your fellow crewmates in here. They have dust and vines growing over them. But otherwise, their bodies, they don't look like they are rotting.
Like they've been kept in stasis and plants have just kind of grown over them while they're in there.
Yeah. So what do you do, Toku?
Toku sees this, and I think the emergency of what's going on outside of the ship kind of takes precedence towards this horrible scene. But I think he kind of takes all that in, and then he is going to go for just a sheet or bedding of some kind to just return to the way that he came in, and just throw something down to essentially help people in, because first things first, we got to get out of the snakes.
Yeah, I think we'll... Gosh, who do I want to be? Yeah, so you need a long sheet or a piece of bedding. You turn to what looks to most people like a pile of vines next to you, but it's actually the sleeping form of a crewmate, and you rip this blanket off of them, and the vines peel back, and we can see the sleeping form of Andre the Giant, an established member of the Uhuru crew, sleeping peacefully.
Man.
How long?
Yeah, doing one of those snore cartoon things, but you rip that off and throw that blanket out the window. And I think the rest of the crew, should they so desire, has the ability to climb up and get into the interior of the ship without much trouble.
Everyone, get in, but brace yourselves. You won't like what you see.
What on earth happened here?
Pliff scrambles up and takes Toku by the shoulders and asks, "How is Jane? Where's Jane?"
I don't know. I haven't seen her yet.
No!
If you would like, you can search the ship for Jane. I feel like that is an average check.
Yeah. Oh my.
Are we still in combat?
Sort of.
Okay.
What's up?
Oh, because I was I'm curious if I have just Toku cut some of these vines off, if that would anger something, or just get the vines off of our crewmates.
The maiden!
Okay, so that's perfect. You will. Yeah. Okay, so we will return to that. So you wanted to, Toku, cut vines off of people. So what we will have is Pliff immediately starts running through the ship. There's some slipping and sliding as he is covered in mud right now. That was a canon thing that definitely happened, and we're going to honor that.
Smells like burnt hair.
Yeah, there's a faint ozone odor wafting off of him. You don't find anyone on the top deck. You need to go lower into the ship, and you kind of ignore. We can see Pliff moving around, pushing things aside, looking into bunks and whatnot. And what we see is place after place that Pliff is looking. There are crew members aboard the ship, many crew members aboard this ship. Many of them look like they have curled up holding bottles of ale and different snacks and other souvenirs and things from Acheron that have since fouled or gone flat after they have presumably just been left in this condition for goodness knows how long. Yet the people themselves look fine, unmarred in some way. Pliff disappears downstairs. We turn to Toku. Toku, we were going to cut vines off of people, you said?
Yeah, I think that there's probably can I ask you to look at that death chart and give me a crew member?
Yeah, we have you know what? we see Nodoze snoring, or we see Nodoze like
Against his very nature.
yeah. That's actually probably the most disquieting thing.
Ugh.
Yeah.
You try to remember, Toku, in your years serving aboard the Uhuru, as long as you've known Nodoze, you don't think you've ever seen the man sleep.
I feel like that he's kind of like scanning through. He's like getting bedding off of people, kind of taking stock, and then we see Toku freeze, eyes agape, and then like the camera kind of like orbits around to show like a very peaceful like Nodoze just kind of like in his bunk, like propped up against like a wooden beam, and he's just kind of like chilling, and that is like that makes Toku like take a step back, like Nodoze. He like puts a hand on his shoulder and like snaps in front of his face, and like his eyes kind of go down to like he's sitting on his like hammock, but the vines have creeped in off like on the beams into the hammock, and now we're like almost like seat belting him like into the hammock seat. And so he immediately like takes out a knife and starts like cutting off the various things that are securing Nodoze into this hammock.
Perfect. We cut downstairs as Pliff is rushing through the ship, and we get to the aviary where the birds are penned up, and like Pliff is like rushing around again, like doing ridiculous things in addition to just looking the way normal people would. Like Pliff does open a couple barrels to look inside, looks under a vase of some like, nonsense things.
Opens a bird's mouth.
Yep. Well, that was Lucas's mouth, so a little bit reasonable. But then I believe like we have this view where we are looking at Pliff look into the gigantic sleeping form of Lucas, looking into his mouth, and over his shoulder, we can see across the room Metatron curled up with a bridle and saddle like half assembled onto the bird. It appears that Jane is collapsed forwards onto the bird's breast, and the bird is like curled around her, sort of snuggled, sleeping together, as though she has fallen asleep in the middle of tacking the bird and preparing it for flight.
Pliff runs over, and
as he runs over, the sleeping form of Lucas does snap at his head. A 1 second of difference, it would have taken it off entirely.
And runs over to like straighten her, like, Jane, you gotta wake up, Jane.
We cut back upstairs to Toku and Nodoze. Toku, you have managed to cut all of the vines off of Nodoze.
Would just based off of like what we've seen so far, would Toku, is there anything in the lore of Sphere that like this is, do we know what this is? Is there an inkling of what this is?
Yeah, make a roll. I'm going to say this is a roll for like lore of the forest and the forest queen.
Okay.
And so for that, once again, you're going to have your 2 green and a yellow. I'm going to make this an average.
Okay. So that is that's a success and an advantage.
There are many stories of the forest queen drawing people into her home, into her palace, into the walls of the forest, and putting them to slumber. There are ancient tales of kings and princesses that have been laid to rest for hundreds of years inside a forest, only to be awakened at some point later. There are stories of folk who have gone off to party and make merry in the forest, who have laid themselves to rest after drinking of its waters and eating of its fruits, only to awaken long after they went to slumber, where everyone they have ever known has aged or passed on. But the common thread between these tales is the thing that allows these people to wake up once more is a kiss.
Oh, yeah. that's common knowledge. I think like Toku starts like, my friend, my shipmate, please wake up. And so he immediately like he kisses Nodoze's forehead, waits, and then sees if that does anything, and then
we'll cut down to Pliff and Jane. Pliff has managed to, I think, like pull Jane from the cuddling grip of Metatron, who is, you know, once again, like kind of fluffed up around it the way birds sleep. It's very, look, do yourself a favor. Look at some birds sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
Just like a little head under the wing.
Yeah,
Puffin.
it's good. They puff out. You've got Jane in your arms, Pliff. What do you do?
Jane, you gotta wake up. You gotta wake up. We're in a lot of trouble here, and there's a lot of animals outside, but I know that if you could just wake up, we can deal with it together. And the darkness is growing inside of me every second that you are not here, so I'm very scared. I would love for you to be awake, please, because I can feel the voices, and they say that I'm denying my own powers, and I want you to wake up, please. And,
You are right now holding Jane in your arms, afraid of yourself, afraid of the situation that you are in. And that has marked so much of Pliff's life, fear. And what he is afraid to do, what he is afraid to say. But here, your longtime friend, the person who is most important to you in the world, sleeps in your arms. What have you wanted to say, but been afraid? And now that you are on perhaps death's door, both of you face oblivion. Because she is not awake, what can you say?
Jane, you believe in me so much, and I don't know. I know I never really earned it, and I know that I've always been afraid that if you're not there, I'll fall apart. But I think the thing that I'm most afraid of is that if when I'm not there, you'll just be better off. So if there's anything, like, we could switch places, everyone's going to be so much better off if you're here and I'm not, please.
Oh, that's actually quite sweet. I think you say that. We cut upstairs and Nodoze's eyes like flicker awake, and we shift back downstairs and we can see Pliff like kind of overwhelmed with emotion to the point where he just starts to fall asleep. And simultaneously as that is happening, Jane starts to wake up. And suddenly, like, there's a shift of weight. Jane scrambles to catch the now sleeping form of Pliff. What the fuck happened? And we cut. We cut far away from here. In fact, we cut into the future after these events. And we cut to Travis Madigo.
That way.
Mm-hmm.
And so he probably like lands, 80% of the way up there, and then just like kind of like he gets up there, he's climbing the rest of the way.
Yeah. To maybe help people envision what's going on, you've got the boat part of the Uhuru, right? And there's a balloon canopy above it, and like it's held together with like ropes and chains and whatnot. But growing between those is this lattice, trying to prevent the ship from getting up and leaving. So I think as you land on the top deck, first of all, you see a lot of animals around. We're talking lion, tigers, bears. Oh my. We're talking snakes of different kinds. Aggressive birds, aggressive forest birds. There's a veritable zoo up here, a fighting zoo, if you will, that everybody is battling against. At the same time, you've got crew members that have axes and saws and other implements that are trying to hack off as many of these vines and branches as possible to free the ship. This is a wild melee. I think like you swing in, land on the deck. Nodoze is there to meet you. There's like a moment like you roll up and you're standing back to back with Nodoze. Jonathan Kessler.
Nodoze, what is your last name?
It's a mononym.
Nodoze a mononym.
No, right, well.
Took a second.
Oh my god.
and then he does a salute.
Got your ass.
Got him. I trust you are not alone.
No, I brought the biggest backup we can get. And then he points back to the captain, and then, and also, and then he does a wider gesture around where he's pointing for the captain for Hip as well.
Well, I see your friend Hip is there, and Travis Madigo, how wonderful.
Well, it's we'll talk later.
Madigo, ahoy! And he calls out. There is a call back from the crew, and there are people that throw lifelines down.
People can't just buy them.
Oh, yeah. But then they're not their own boss. And that's the important part.
See, I think we hit the stop. Jerry just bought them, and he was just in, and he didn't want to keep it going.
Oh, he bought all of them?
He did.
Oh.
So it's kind of the pyramid is short, is what we're saying. It's a little one.
It's a full pyramid on top, balanced on top of one.
So I don't know if that's your metric for success.
I mean, I guess as long as he keeps buying them and you keep selling into your downstream.
I guess.
Kind of the ideal situation.
Honestly, yeah.
And
Now hold on there just a minute.
whoa.
Who?
It's me, Nodoze.
Oh!
And this was supposed to be a PSA against MLMs.
Well, sometimes they work out.
Where?
Maybe it's a PSA to find your mark.
Mm.
Can we work with that? Look, the existence of a jerk-off Jerry is extremely unlikely in any universe.
Mm-hmm.
They would have been sent to jail or killed for their ways and behaviors.
Yes.
You'll never find someone to buy your entire downstream, so don't get involved.
Okay.
Never let this happen again.
Angry as ever, Nodoze.
Yeah.
He does not like MLM.
Really upset about it.
He just can't move his product.
Appreciate you, Travis.
Do you need a boost?
No, I can.
Do you need a boost?
When Gable says that, I'm going to jump off the side of the boat.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm going to, I think Ferdinand is going to jump after me.
Yep.
I'm going to fly up as a bird.
Jeez.
I'm going to drop a changeling card that's going to float down and land on the ship.
8 points.
And I'm going to say, I don't need a boost because I'm a different bird. And then we're going to fly off into the sunset. Or the sunrise, I guess.
God, he's so fucking cool. I hate it so much. I hate him, but he's also so cool. And so, Travis Madigo departs the Uhuru. Not forever, but for now. And for long enough that it matters.
Skyjacks. They take a deep breath and say to everyone, "Jerk off Jerry loved to masturbate."
There's some hooting and hollering from the crowd.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's about it. What a creep. I've got this plank of wood because we know that he could get off to anything, and it's going to make the ship go faster. I didn't like him, and he knew that. It would be disrespectful to say otherwise. Fuck that guy. Didn't like it. Didn't wish he were dead, but, you know, good. Hope he's cranking that hog all the way to heaven and back. Boy. what a lot of time has been spent talking about this person. Anyway, have at two. Don't come back. Bye.
Jonet, as Gable comes back to the group, Jonet leans over to Gable. That was beautiful.
No, it wasn't. I fucking hate that guy.
Thank you.
It's the worst.
Thank you.
And finally, in closing remarks, I'd like to bring up the person we all know must have spent the most time with Jerk-Off Jerry because they had so many shifts together. And Nodoze stands up from the crowd and approaches the furnace. It is true that Jerry, being one of the senior members of the crew, was usually stationed to be partner with me on shifts. And I wish I could say that helped me come to know the man, to know who he was beneath all the constant jerking off. But my sentiments about Jerry are more in line with Mr. Gable. Not fought, because when you're on a shift with him, he's not doing his job. He's doing his own thing.
Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy.
So I've got a mop because I know that I had to clean up after him many times in life, and I know no one's doing that for him in death. And so it's about time he pulled his weight in that fashion. Though, thanks for saving the ship. Nodoze will toss the mop on the fire. And
the mop explodes into the biggest flame yet.
Take flight.
Take flight. Oromar is currently daydreaming about a coconut-scented cutting stone.
I imagine the captain's council is like pretty much unilaterally decided that we'll be part of the scouting party.
Yeah.
But I am curious, is anybody else, have you selected anybody else to join you for your scouting?
I would like Carlos to also come along.
Oh, hello.
Oh, that makes sense.
I feel like in the vein of like trying to get like a beefy crew member, I feel like I want Wendell. Yeah. Wendell, but I think both Wendell has an axe. Wendell has two axes. Jonet has like an axe as well, and like a big duffel just in case.
Oh.
I just like the feeling of two axes at the same time, you know?
Could you please stop twirling them? Please stop twirling them, though.
I'll stop twirling axes when it stops being super fun to do.
You keep dropping them. You keep releasing them out into the open air, and it's very dangerous.
You don't need to be good at twirling axes to have fun twirling axes.
No, that is a requirement, but for twirling axes in public.
Thunk! One of the axes flies out of his hands and thugs into the ship.
You're right, that was
3
fun.
points.
No, Carlos, do not gamify this. Do not encourage
I
him.
don't know. It sounds like someone got 2 points, though.
And Liz, who else do you think is?
I miss my friend Nodoze. I think we should just have the whole party boy gang.
Mm-hmm.
The boys back together again.
That's us. The guys.
Boys' night. Yes.
Boys' night.
So I heard you 3 almost drowned last time you all hung out together. Hopefully that won't be the same this time.
Well, that was on purpose. That was a hold your breath contest.
We decided not to drown. Although there was a minute where Nodoze and I were walking back through those tunnels and we were pretty much 100% that you had probably drown.
I did drown. Anyway, but that's for me to know and you to not know. So let's get on with it. All
You'll
right.
have an extra set of eyes on you, Gable, don't worry.
Carlos says behind their goggles, and you cannot see their eyes at all.
I trust that you are looking at me gently.
Carlos smiles.
That's nice.
Oh.
I picture Carlos being someone who's like, all of their clothing and whatnot is so covered in soot and coal dust and like smoke and whatnot that when they smile, like their teeth are just like this bright thing that is coming out of like an inky darkness.
Yeah, there are two things about Carlos that are always immaculate. Their teeth and their immaculately polished nails.
Yeah. Yep. Love that.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So we have our scouting party. I have, like I said, put together some custom mechanics, a special little fun mini game for our adventure here. I have it is for each of these characters, you know. We've got
for the
cold
toy
weather
sales.
circumstance. Just please describe your cold weather gear for this
Sure.
expedition.
I think I mentioned that Oromar had like one of his long jackets, but it's like heavy fur trim and still with the tricorn hat. I guess it's velvet lined, this one, so it's a bit fluffier. Carlos, on the other hand, I'm thinking like bodysuit, but we have like the big gloves and boots with the fur trim around the ankle and wrists. It gives off a very interesting silhouette.
I kind of like the idea that Carlos is sort of almost always wearing something that is akin to a bodysuit, and the difference for the Arctic one is that there's fur lining. It's just like, shing.
I definitely picture like a lab coat or a worker's apron when actually on the job. But yeah, bodysuit underneath that. Let's go. I'm into that.
Well, I mean, I just like on the job, like he's got the apron, but he's got the gloves, and he's probably got thick boots, they've got gloves and thick boots. So I just assume that they're always like this kind of covered otherworldly figure because they have to wear all of this protective gear for their job.
And this is just the winter premium skin version of Carlos.
You really have to grind for to get that.
Or pay $7, or just pay $7.
This isn't gonna pay $7.
I think Jonnet is still in the cloak from the captain.
Oversized.
The oversized cloak. And so I think he's very much like Chicago. He's trying to Chicago winter it, where he's just like layered up underneath it. And then he has the cloak on top of it. And so I think it's kind of big and baggy, but I think the duffel on the side kind of like cinches it up so you can kind of see some sort of like some kind of cut of like, oh, there's a person in there. And then he's got like this large axe that Jonnet is not an axe wielder, but he was told that like we might need to like break up wood for the ship. So he's like carrying an axe, and where Wendell is like having a lot of fun spinning it around, Jonnet feels really sturdy with it over his shoulder, but do not ask him to fight with it.
I mean, we say that Jonnet was told that he needed to carry the axe. The reason for the axe is this is for the action figure line. They're like, everybody needs an accessory. Okay, I guess we're going to give everybody axes for this plot line. Just...
That's why we had our bathroom attendant suddenly out of the blue be like, I'll get the axes. It was a very last minute plot device where it's like the producers were like, we need to sell toys. How do we get it in there? I don't know. Have the bathroom guy say it.
Jonnet doesn't hold things enough. We need to hold things.
And then I think he has his bandana has been like swapped out for like somewhere along the way, he's got like a much more thick, like winterized, like crocheted bandana that goes around. Yeah,
I love that. That's really cute. Oh man,
Gable doesn't look. The most that they've got, I think, is like high altitude bird gear, which is kind of what you want. It's a little bit
chilly, but it's more focused on like cinching places that wind would get than it is about like real intense layering. So they have that, and they're still wearing like their purple leather coat because that's a perfectly warm piece of equipment. And the way that they've addressed like the rest of their body is just like one big old like almost blanket scarf that's really wound around their heads and like over the nose and ears with just little eyes over the top, and holding a big old lamp because we're going into caves and stuff.
That's great. And I think Wendell and Nodoze, I will say, just have Wendell comes from, up north. Like, he's got a big fur coat. Nodoze is not from a cold weather place, so he is borrowing one of Wendell's jackets. So Nodoze, this like tiny little stick man in this gigantic like fur jacket, looks to have like the same body profile as Wendell now, except these skinny little chicken legs like coming out the bottom of it. But yeah, they are dressed to match, and everyone looks good. Everyone else, like, we can see that the ship, I think everybody is like reduced to one furnace. It is just the central furnace running to keep the heating system that the Uhuru has going, and except for like necessary like scouts and whatnot, as the ship has anchored, everyone else is like inside the ship trying to stay warm with minimal supply use while the scouts move out and assess what can be taken out of this area. And then, of course, everybody in the scouting party gets into the Uhuru Action Luge, which is a vehicle playset that allows them to go around to adventures on the ice, and is sold separately from
Is
all
Hot Wheels
of the
track
Arctic
compatible,
action figures.
TM?
Mm-hmm. The ringing stops, and that's it for now.
Ominous.
Cool.
Let's
probably
go
fine.
over to hey, I couldn't be happier that that's the luminary that got pulled. So excited about how this is going so far. Liz, let's draw for you, and we get the Night of Spring. Spring is resupply. Oh, and this is fun. What you get is signs of a penguin griffin. So I think before entering this place, Gable just needs to brace and gather themselves. So I imagine like you find signs of this penguin griffin outside. How do you find it? What is it? Is this a live thing, a dead thing? What's going on?
Oh, it's gonna be sad. So outside, I don't think Gable ever got outside enough to really ever see the penguin griffins, but just with guards talking, it was pretty frequent. Like, there was a big herd back in the day of penguin griffins that, like, they were too big to mess with, so the church never really did anything about them, but it was like just something that was talked about. I think what this is for somehow in the past 150 years, there was a different major weather event that caused a big melt. And then just as quickly next day, a deep freeze. So what Gable sees is like a bunch of frozen footprints or flipper prints that lead around a corner, and what they see is a perfectly frozen, perfectly preserved penguin mother standing next to standing on top or sitting on top of a golden griffin egg, completely frozen, dead for years, but has been good enough to eat.
Yeah. I like that. And it makes total sense. With rapidly shifting seasons, it could have been summer, one day, and then deep of a harsh winter the next day. And you just end up with a flash frozen huge bird.
Like there's a flood and it's perfectly encased in ice somehow. It's like almost terrifying and magical to see. It's like I don't want to touch this. This is so fucking wild.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is flash frozen meat. This is exactly what y'all need. It'll be a real bitch to butcher, but yeah. What kind of penguin is this, Liz?
Oh.
You must choose.
Yeah, give it a name. Give it a name and a backstory.
Now I'm thinking about all the good penguins there are. I love penguins so much. Oh, it doesn't make any sense for it to be like a rock hopper or anything like that because those guys are little. It's probably just your standard emperor penguin, mama.
Okay, enormous.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How tall is an emperor penguin?
How tall are they? Like a whole foot tall, right?
Yeah, I think they're around 4 feet.
Whoa,
Yeah,
kid
so-
size.
Yeah, jeez. I had no idea.
That's why they're so huggable. You go to your aquarium, you can see them. They come out all the way up to your hip.
That is 33 feet tall.
That's too much.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Too much.
So, hey, good find, Gable.
That's terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, no wonder if they moved in herds, like 30-foot penguins moving as in the March of the Penguins, terrifying.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, like penguin griffins, especially in post-fall sphere, are like one of the few types of wild griffins that would really be able to form herds and communities because there's enough food in the ocean, which is now full of awful monsters, to keep them fed and of ginormous size. So based on how quick and easy that is, I think y'all should get 2 free draws before I do rolls. So let's go through again. Jonet. Stars. Getting a lot of star pulls here. So this is an artifact, probably a more minor one.
Artifact.
And it is the island.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's not a good one.
No.
That stands for, well, but the themes match up: imprisonment, doom, and the cursed sea, which I feel like makes sense for...
That's 3 for 3 for the setting.
Gosh.
Yeah.
James, you can let me know if this makes sense. So the execution method that we were talking about was like, it was an icicle, right?
It was a wild thing that we decided. It's like an ice luge where they pour water up the top, but it becomes an icicle on the way down, and then it like
I remember
smashes
this.
into you.
Yeah. What if that's like very deliberately seawater?
Oh, that makes sense.
And where it is, it's hanging over a cliff. So once you get stabbed, you just fall into the ocean. But I don't know, with the artifact, like a mechanism of that, maybe?
Yeah. Whatever pumping system has to be within this place. And I think also probably to get people right into the sea, because again, you had to cross like a mile of ice to get here or whatnot. They probably had to core out like a spot in the ice where somebody could be stabbed and then roll off into the sea. So yeah, you probably find like the mechanism housing that set up this complicated and fucking cursed way of execution.
Mm-hmm. There's no way that this is useful, though.
Probably not useful.
No.
But like definitely makes sense as a thing to find. And for Gable, there is an element of, back at that time, this was not before the Mariner existed, but before the Mariner was part of like common knowledge of a force within the world. It was like 50 years later, it was pretty well cemented within common knowledge that there were, ships full of wild sailors that would rove around and raid coastal towns and whatnot. This was definitely at a time where it was considered extremely dangerous to go on sea voyages, and sailors had the reputation of being unhinged and like wild people who were like prone to bouts of anger and like throw these revelrous parties that would burn down towns and do all of these things. And you now see this device and wonder the construction of this thing, how much of that was related to people succumbing to the Mariner's Mark here in these frozen wastes and not even knowing that that's what was happening. Perhaps some of the dark rituals that took place here grew the Mariner's power. It's difficult to say.
I assume Gable's with Nodoze because that's who's left. Gable kind of explains not exactly the science of how it worked, but just the general, like, this is the execution method. It's quite archaic, a little bit, they're not particularly efficient, very much ceremonial. Do you want to just break it? Do you want to just wail on this thing for a little bit?
I was kind of hoping that you were going to suggest it because I thought of it and I was like, no, we can't just spend our time wailing on something, but I would very much like to break a cursed thing.
Yes.
I think
it's not maybe not helpful for our immediate purposes, but will keep us warm. And second of all,
we're gonna fly away from this place and feel really good about the fact that we did this.
Feel really good about it. Just a real ribbon on all the things that we were able to accomplish. So, hey, let's, what do I have? Big old rocks. Come on, let's get at it.
I imagine Gable just like walks over to like a wall, grabs a stone, pulls it from the wall.
This is bad. This is good. This is good.
Gable, a few yards away. It's good. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, like turning and leaning his head out of the locked door. This is indeed good.
It's good.
We can repair the ship. It's good.
That's good.
Moving on.
Hey, everybody, that's good. It's good.
Hey, it's good.
It's good.
We've just been kind of absorbing the ambient horror of atrocities past for however many hours we've been in here. We need the win.
Something neutrally positive, like, good, great.
As we're walking by, like carcass and bones, like it's good. And we're all gonna look up here, look into my eyes, and it's good. Okay,
good stuff.
I found a thing in this place that isn't going to give me nightmares. That's unique and good. In its own way.
It's good.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's good.
All right. Who's next to roll?
I think it's gonna be a little bit of a Jonet if we good on that, and I think it's gonna be on the magic side of things.
Okay.
And I think in a way, I feel like Jonet I want to have Jonet like put out like feelers to either it's not necessarily divine, like the divine pathways of the universe, but like it feels like some kind of like earth magic adjacent thing where it's like I just want to, like, if it's touching the ground, if it's made of earth, if it's of the earth, I want to try to see if I can like feel it in a similar way to like hitting the ground and like making like earth shoot up, or like hitting the wall and like targeting rocks. If he can like target like something that feels dense but of the earth, that feels like it could be like coal or like a dense like wood that would burn. That feels like maybe where I want to have him go.
All right. I think what this is then, in addition to the magic dice that you're rolling, I'm adding a relationship die to this. And in this game, when there is a significant relationship that could impact your roll, you can add a relationship die either towards or against your roll. In this situation, it's going to be towards, and that relationship is going to be your relationship with your eye. So we'll add that on there. Are you going to do any spends?
So then I would spend my points from my magic to then
to enhance the dice that you have from your magic, if you would like.
and then every 4, I feel like I asked this last time, and every 4 is like another tier.
So every 1 that you spend will upgrade the die type, and every 2 that you spend will give you a new die. So if you were to spend 4 dice, or if you were to spend 4, that would be a brand new D12, essentially.
Okay. Yeah. Well, then I would like to spend 4.
All right. So you're adding an extra D12 to this roll, and
Yes,
your magic
please.
gives you 3 dice, right?
Yes.
Okay.
3 little guys.
I'm going to roll this hefty pool. Okay. Let's take a look at my guide here. Good. So those are successes. Oh, yeah. Wow. So that is going to be 4 successes overall.
Like those.
My gosh.
Somewhat unlucky draw, as we have 2 winters. I will understand you not picking a winter, as winters represent threats. That could befall your group. But the good results that you have, you either have a relatively high resupply or a relatively low repair result.
Well, then I'm going to go with the resupply.
All right. And what you find are pallets of dried pasta.
What?
Lucky.
Buongiorno.
Yes, shut up.
Yeah, I mean, hey, the church is based on the Roman Catholic Church, which means pasta is important. Hey, folks, in the real canon, I don't necessarily want to imply that Japan parentheses Italian is super real within the sphere, or that is necessarily the place that is home in the Church of the Slain God, but come on. So yeah, it's pasta. And the thing about dried pasta, especially stored in an environment like this where there is not much humidity and it is very, very cold, it has a long shelf life. So potentially edible.
Potentially.
Great.
Ciao, Papa.
I think, Jonnet is going to like open a pantry and like just get hit with like, wow, shelf of what? And then he's going to like take one, look at it, sniff it. Why would he think it'd smell like anything? He's going to bite it. He's going to chew it. In terms of dried pasta, that's pretty good. And so then
In terms of raw pasta.
yeah.
Raw freeze-dried pasta, I guess.
Again, he like leans out. He's like, I found something that is good. This is good.
Neutral
this is
good?
Definitely good.
All right, good.
Yes,
That's good. It's good.
I feel like this is followed by a scene of you and Wendell like loading up sleds of just dried pasta and snacking on little individual dried pastas as you are carrying them out.
So yeah, I think like there's that. Jonnet fills up his bag as much as he can because he's like, I'm not finding fuel, so I might as well stock food. I think he came into this thinking like, I'm going to be the one to find the coal. I'm going to do that. And then it's like, well, okay. It's like we're still. This is a good thing. This is a net positive thing. So he's like loading up his bag, and then like maybe finds the sleds, and he's like, "Ooh, I have an idea."
Yeah, I'll say because I said pallets, and you did get opportunities on this, which is the system's like equivalent of advantages. I'll say you find like the pasta is being stored in crates. You know, you've got crates and whatnot. So like the end of the day, you will have things to burn.
The wood of the crate. Makes sense.
Got it.
It's like a little bit of coal, some wooden crates. It's like, well, it'll be a tough trip, but you might be able to get back in the air, and if somebody finds more burnable stock, then hopefully it'll be good.
I think Jonnet is more focused on like he's counting this as like a win because I found some fuel, and then also there's pasta involved, and I have to transport the pasta to get the fuel. But it's like I found some fuel. I did what I wanted to do. Yeah,
Got it.
All right, Liz.
Yeah.
What you rolling?
Since John just did magic, I don't want to do magic twice in a row. I'll do prowess, which is essentially just hitting something so hard that you find something good.
And we did when we last left Gable, they were hitting stuff very hard.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to do anything with that to pump it up.
How many dice do you have in prowess?
I got a square and 2 diamonds.
Okay. So
Whatever
that is 2 d8s and 1 d6.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're not going to juice it. We're just going to roll it.
It's just
That's a pretty good dice roll by itself.
Hey!
Hey!
All right.
Pasta, pizza, carbonara.
That's 2 successes and 1 complication. Okay. So the first thing is we get to draw 2 cards and choose between them. All right. Let's see here. This is the spring result. Both of these are low, but they're both burnable things. Okay. Oh, wait. Okay. Never mind. What is the 6 for that? Okay. So you can choose between food or something to burn.
Something to burn.
Okay.
We got a whole penguin. I'm not worried.
Mm-hmm.
Penguin and pasta, we are set.
Pasta, penguin carbonara.
Penguin carbonara,
Delicious.
baby.
Eating like kings.
What you find, so you and Nodoze are smashing up this and like working through some stuff. This is therapeutic. First of all, you're here with your good friend Nodoze. And there's almost nothing more that you and friend ? Who knows? Things have been said, but everybody needs time. There's nothing more fun in the world than going out with the boys and cause a little chaos, doing a little smashing. So you break this device and it feels good. These are memories that like you had to push away and ignore and do your best to try and bury because there is simply nothing else that you could do with that. There is just raging against this institution that is the church, which feels fruitless in a way. But now you are able to like directly engage with the artifacts of your past and fuck them up a little bit more. And that causes like a big mess to be strewn about the room. And you eventually like reach a point where you both are kind of out of breath and you've smashed up this cursed thing. It felt as good as you needed it to feel. And you sit down together and have some contemplation time. There is some rope involved.
I went to a rage room and then I got super high and I had a great day.
Yeah. For a place where you were tortured at, this is not a bad trip.
Pretty good day.
I think you and Nodoze are lying on your backs, kind of staring up at the ceiling of like this mechanics room, just talking about like it's moved far past from like talking about your experiences to like going into shower thoughts level conversations. And then like as you were kind of like looking up, maybe looking around the room, you see a rolled up like vellum thing that you didn't notice before, or maybe got dislodged as the room got more and more chaotic. And for whatever reason, like it calls out to you. You see it, you open it up. It is a map. It is a map that, you know, is written again in the language of the church, this bastardized version of the divine tongue. So you can read it, but, you know, it's like if you spoke and read Spanish, it's like reading Italian. Like they're extremely similar languages. You can kind of get it, but like it's far off enough that it's difficult. What you gather, especially your rope-addled brain right now, This is guiding you to some place north of here that has peat, where you'd be able to go dig up peat. For those who don't know, peat or turf is a old school fuel. It will show up in like Scotch whiskey because it's part of the distillation process for Scotch whiskey. But it was something that people would almost burn like wood as fuel, and you can use to lift a skyship off the ground. So if you have enough fuel to get you to this place, the Uhuru will be able to go out, dig up a bunch more fuel, and basically get wherever it needs to go.
So what I'm thinking is that if I were a bug, if I were just a little bug, would I conceive of people bigger than me not having the same sort of soul and voice? Because we assume that bugs don't have souls and voices because they're small. But what if it's the same big? So, like, say I was as big as that this wall right here. Wait a second. What is that?
I like it when things are big.
I like it when things are big. But if I were small, would I hate things that were big? Anyway, I'm gonna get this. Can you lift me up? Hey,
there's a scene. Nodoze tries to lift you up, and I
don't think you're trying.
Like, gives you a little bit of boot. Like, it's not that Nodoze is weak or anything, or even that Nodoze is particularly short. It's just how much height is Nodoze going to be able to add to Gable? It's ludicrous. Nodoze has to like bend down and like wrap his arms around like your thighs and like try and boost you up. The two of you do manage to reach it, but I also think you do fall down.
You did a great job.
Nodoze responds, but it is muffled because he's basically like talking into your coat right now.
Oh, and then a little bit later, after we read the map, hey, Captain, John,
Yes. Have you managed
going on?
to?
Not bad.
What?
Not bad. Another
What?
not bad.
I don't know what this is.
It's good.
It's another not bad. There's
It's a map. But I guess I can't. I'm afraid I can't read this.
Stop shaking it, Gable.
It's a good map. It's a good map.
That definitely makes it harder to read.
Flapping it like a bird. There's a peat bog about 10 miles or so. If we can.
Probably more than 10.
I think it's 10 miles. That's what I read on the map. We only need to go 10 miles. And we can get a bunch of peat fuel. I don't know what the state it's going to be, so that's a little bit of a gamble. But,
That's still fantastic news, Gable. Thank you so
good.
much. Thank you so much.
Are you roping? Are you roping? When did?
I don't know.
What?
I don't know what. Are you? Are you high right now?
Jonet.
What?
Do you think griffins have souls?
Okay. All right.
But what? Okay.
Jonet.
What?
Do you think griffins have souls?
I think that yes. I don't. Yes. Yes. I'm not on your
bugs would think we have souls.
I don't. Okay, that's not the same. You know that's not the same. This is a size proportion thing of
griffins are big.
How we conceive.
Skyjacks.
They just kind of do those roars.
Hey, Bowser. Hey, sweetie. Hey, how are you?
Allie, you can just drop in the sound effect for the roar that Bowser makes.
That's great. You're looking so good. Okay, honey, I'm gonna need you to do some of the stuff that we learned. Get the ship up in the air and probably a little bit move it towards starboard, away from the sea. And is there anything you need before we head out? No? Okay, thank you so much. You're the best. Thank you. Take care of yourself.
We stressed fast, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
But as much as they can lumber from foot to foot.
Wait. Where are you going?
We have a conversation that needs to happen.
But if we go into the air critically, a thing that I kind of need to know, how are you coming with the ship?
Well, I had my own plans in mind, and then I had to accommodate for my members of the council. I do not necessarily know how they intend to ascend into the air without prearranged technology or planning,
I'm not
but
sure.
I
Should
trust
I-
their inventiveness.
Release one of the birds? It's the conditions aren't great.
That's a wonderful idea. Yes, we have
The
a little feathery
birds.
elevator, don't we? Nodoze,
I
you're
don't
so
know
smart.
that that's how you should think about birds, but
Feathery
Yes.
elevator, yes.
all right. Be careful.
You want to come with?
Please don't. We need as many hands on actual deck as possible to go and handle any technical issues on the ship if there are
But
any.
you want to.
I kind of
I'll come down with the birds. I'll come down with the birds, and it'll just be real
And
quick.
then we'll
A
figure
real
it out
quick
from
fight.
there. Yeah.
Come down with the birds for a real quick fight, and then everybody will leave, and it will just be a quick fight. We'll only do a little bit of fighting, and then we'll leave. Critically
what
is the thing.
What if it's
Orma
fun?
pinches the bridge of his nose. Fine.
Let's
That was
go.
kind of fun.
You can see Nodoze like kind of scampers off, like all excited
Yes.
that he's gonna get in a big fight. Great. So you have decided to head towards the river in hopes of having a conversation with the Rusalka. Right now, there is no player character leadership aboard the Uhuru. The Uhuru has been ordered to try and get themselves into the air as quickly as possible. The storm is kicking up as it goes. We've got the cutting stone moving in towards the island. Doesn't just live here. Back over at the Uhuru, the storm is raging. We can see pallets that have been built up, piled high with peat, that have been covered by tarps, that have been covered by like oilskin tarps and are, getting pulled onto the ship. We can see like on the other side of the Uhuru, there is Nodoze, who is like saddling up like the birds and whatnot and like whistling a battle tune. I think he's like literally whistling the cutting stone as he's doing it because he knows he's going to get in a fight later and he's kind of pumped for it. But there is like this operation that is being led by the Uhuru crew. We can see it is not desperation on their faces, but it is urgency. The Uhuru crew has gone from supernatural danger to supernatural danger. That's kind of par for the course at this point for them. And they need this fuel. This fuel is what is going to carry them to the mainland and hopefully an area where there will be less of this bullshit that happens to them. So they are hauling these things onto the ship when lightning strikes again, and we can see behind some of them these hooded figures. The stones have appeared, and the cutting stone is going to attack the Uhuru crew. All right, that is 2 successes and therefore 2 rolls on the Uhuru death chart.
Golly.
Is Carmen canon for this moment?
Yeah, definitely. I updated the death chart. She is on there.
I'm worried.
It would be very funny if we like cast this
Immediate
NPC and they died immediately.
Oh, and like they die immediately, but then like the episode which we have the audition is in a later episode.
Yeah.
Oh, who was that person that died? Oh.
Okay, the first roll is 51, so nobody dies.
Good.
Cool.
And the next roll is 45
Consequences.
and nobody dies.
No consequences ever.
Yeah.
Instead, I think what happens, people are loading up, people are hauling, and one of the ropes that is binding this tarp snaps, and there is a hole that appears in the tarp. It is like a tense moment, and Jane calls out, "Did everybody check the ropes before we tied down the tarps?" and it bounces over to Wendell. Yeah, I checked the ropes. I checked the ropes like 3 or 4 times. These are all good ropes, and they're all good tarps. We use all the bad tarps for burning, remember? And there's kind of a murmuring amongst the crew of agreement. That is when, like, there is a call from another member of the crew, and we'll say it is Wilson, the sad sack Wilson, who shouts in surprise, and we can see that there is a cut on his jacket. He looks horrified. This wasn't here. This wasn't here a moment ago. And there are shouts of like surprise, confusion, and concern around the ship before there is like the sound of wood striking wood as Nodoze plants his spear in the boards of the ship, holding Metatron's bridle in his other hand. It is the stone! The captain's council has gone off to face the cutting stone. They come for us, our ship, our crew. We must keep our eyes out, and remember, mortal eyes cannot see this threat. Your enemy surrounds you. You must defend yourself, but you must do it without sight. And I think there are murmurs of, like, excitement and edging near panic from the crew of the Uhuru. And I'm going to drop things over to an allied slot now. On the deck of the Uhuru, like, what do you want to do? There are a lot of things. There's the effort to load up the ship and make sure there is peat for burning for the trip ahead. And there is stoking the furnaces to lift off. There's also technically fighting the cutting stone, because damage you do here will count for the cutting stone that you're battling elsewhere as well.
The door to it is like kicked open entirely unnecessarily. This is the first time that we get a full body shot of Min, and she is, of course, wearing platform strapped up boots. She did not need to kick the door open. The door is not locked.
Yeah, we can see like a very startled Nodoze who is saddling up Metatron, like turn around to go, "Oh, Sovereign's body, you frightened me, Min."
Sorry. Hey, do you have like a wheelbarrow?
I mean, yes. Here, this is what we use to take the feed and dung, obviously between washes back and forth. What are you doing?
Cool.
Does not answer the question. Walks over to the wheelbarrow.
It smells funny.
I just said it moved bird feed and dung. I don't know what sort of olfactory experience you think that should provide, but it's not great. I can guarantee you that.
Min has this perfect teenager expression of kind of like, I'm embarrassed that I said something that has caused me ridicule, but I'm refusing to express that clearly.
Whatever. I'm taking this. The granny's taking a shovel.
I was like, well, you're also taking the shovel. She takes the shovels and puts them in the wheelbarrow. So is there any kind of like, there's got to be like a door that like releases that, we release the birds out on through. What does that sort of look over if you were to peer to the outside? Is there any way that we can like chuck this wheelbarrow outside and just like have it be on the ground so we can load it up with peat?
Yeah, I think so. Like the cargo doors to the Uhuru are on the side of the ship. So, those are rolled open. And I have to imagine the bird cages work in a similar way where like, they're barn style doors. They can roll open or close.
Or even, Metatron's being Granny turns to Min and like, do you know how to fly one of these? And she points to Flea
Mhm.
It's like, is there a way that we could just have one of the griffins carry the wheelbarrow down?
Okay, now Mr. Gable is very particular about who touches their birds. I really don't think that this is the sort of thing that I can approve of or
Min
just
is
sit by.
like patting the side of Flea, eyes sparkling.
They're really cool. I wasn't allowed
yeah.
to fly one unsupervised, but this is like desperate measures or whatever.
Min being a teenage girl with problems, and Flea being a beast that you ride upon. There's an instant connection forged between the two of them. Allie, you are gonna have to set off that horse girl alarm for sure, because that's the situation that we're in.
Yeah, we see a shot of Min reflected in Flea's eyes.
Cool.
Absolutely. Granny turns to Nodoze. I know you have rank on me, but I have age on you, and this child needs to get down onto the land post haste.
Okay, I will be 100% honest with you. I'm supposed to load up this bird because I've got a cool fight that I'm going to get to be a part of.
Then
and
why aren't
I'm
you doing
really
it?
excited
Why aren't
for
you
that.
doing it? Why aren't you doing it? Yeah, why aren't you doing it, Nodoze?
Okay, make sure that the bird gets back in the roost. All right? I just make sure it gets back. I can't get in trouble for this. I'm not taking the fall for this.
Granny turns to Min and is like,
Make sure that this wheelbarrow gets where it needs to go.
I don't think it would be wise for me to join you. I would evaporate on the first flap of wings.
I almost thought you were cool, but okay.
And that hits Granny, and we get she turns around and we get like a completely different, like moody, low key lighting setup for Granny, is like where she just like remembers her the days gone by of her like jousting and being a corsair in her own light, in her own story, just killing whoever, fucking whoever, just being the height of her true self. And then it comes back and like, strap me in, and she goes and then hops on behind Min.
Okay. So it sounds to me like we have an NPC role where two NPCs have been committed to this task. You are also enlisting the help of a bird. So I am going to say you're going to be rolling with one white D12 and committed to this action. So you are all safe for the time being. With that, we have one more PC control for the Uhuru crew.
Yeah, I think Min is doing what she needs to do right now. So I'm going to go pick. It was Nodoze who we saw in the stable who was very excited to go be involved in some combat, right?
Right. That's correct.
I think Nodoze, having not taking up the call to go assist with loading onto Flea because the children are handling that. But I think he sees a shift in the rain as just waves of cutting stone are trying to move across the land to approach the Flea and the kids, and he sees it first, has a moment of, oh no you don't, and launches from the ship towards the cutting stone, eyes aflame.
There's just a
By
quick,
his lonesome.
crack of the reins. This is the thing that this was arranged between Gable and Nodoze beforehand. So there's a quick crack of the reins. Nodoze grabs like the saddle, and Metatron launches forward through the rain. Like immediately, I think both Metatron and Nodoze feel the strength of the wind as they take into the air. These are bad flying conditions that are only getting worse, but Metatron and Nodoze both are extremely loyal to Gable and would not leave them under threat. So they push through the rain and move through the air, getting towards the captain's council. And what they see in front of them is like a strange and horrifying sight. There is this ring of void around Gable and the captain and Jonnet, like just a place where they cannot see. If you've ever seen a photo of something that has been painted with Vanta black, it looks like that. It is just this uncanny place where light falls away and your eyes can't process what you are seeing. But there is this ring around these three who are looking like they are facing off against opponents that Nodoze also cannot see. But he, readies his spear and he, prepares himself to join the fight and save who he can. Nathan, what are you going to roll to try and do?
I think this is... we don't know how many of the cutting stone there are, but feeling like being the biggest problem is what Nodoze is out today. Nodoze is out to bust some heads. So this is the first kind of like target that makes itself known, or the first group. I think we're going to get a swooping across with like talons and maybe spear to see and kind of drag it through silhouettes to see how many we can get.
I am going to establish now, I think Metatron is capable of seeing the cutting stone. Not only do raptors have superior eyesight to human beings, but it's also that thing of animals being able to sense supernatural threats better than people. So I think Metatron and Nodoze are acting in concert here. Nathan, you're going to be rolling with 1d8 and 1d6, unless you would like to spend a point of fate.
I would love to spend another point of fate to push that to 2d8.
2d8 it is.
All right. We have a 6 and an 8.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So you succeed. You succeed with no complications whatsoever, which is, although you're not aware of it, extremely lucky right now. You also restore that point of fate. And let's see. Now I have to... Damage is the thing that I have to figure out here. I'm going to say... Yeah, I'm going to say this is another 6 damage because we've got Nodoze and Metatron working together. And... this is almost a reflection of the scenes that we saw back during the bachelor party for Wendell, when we had this group of hardened pirates hunting leviathans together. There is a lot of trust that happens between raptor and rider. The griffin soars, dives, catches prey, and Nodoze basically just stabs his spear down, trusting that there is something within the clutches of the griffin. So even though he cannot see what he is stabbing at, he throws the spear in the air and he can feel that it landed solid purchase. As another member of the cutting stone, the captain's council can see is ripped from the ground, ripped from even this gap in dimension, and pulled up by Metatron and stabbed by Nodoze. And I am going to remove yet more hit points from their collective pool. And now we are back to the Captain's Council. And I will say anybody can forego their character's turn to do actions for NPCs if they want. But yeah, you are surrounded by cutting stone, and Nodoze has just swooped in from the air to give you some support.
Just to clarify the state of play regarding the void orb, leaving the void orb is a bad thing for us.
If you were to step forward into the area where the cutting stone is, that would be bad. It would be, it's hard to navigate out of that space without fully defeating the cutting stone. However, because you have this donut, the air above you is actually cool. So You can move over it or be extracted by Metatron out of it.
I would love to grab Jonnet and Gable's hands and just crouch down with all my might and spend a lot of prowess to just leap up and start gliding, or at least have a slow descent, considering I'm my featherweave coat is going.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I think you would
Cool.
absolutely have a slow descent on this. There is no question to that whatsoever. It will be a considerable prowess roll to get you high up into the air, but you have activated like your separation, so you do have the supernatural strength of your body. It has now become important for us to know how much has been added onto your prowess as the result of that thing.
Sure. My prowess is normally 4, so I don't know how much you would love to modify that by. I will be spending a bar of prowess behind this roll, though. The body is
the full
hitting
bar.
its limit to do it.
So yeah, what I think happens, I think this adds 2d8 to any of all of your prowess rolls for the remainder of the scene when you activate this power. That is what makes sense to me. So you have and you have 1d8 normally because you have a 4 in prowess.
Is there anything that can be done to like Ormar does this like crouch, but like does like a countdown and like signals to us to like, hey, on 3, pump your legs and just like add to this upward force?
I 3 jumps.
I think what you can do is you can spend from pools of your choice to aid Oromar in this action.
Yeah. So instead of spending my prowess stats right now, I'm currently rolling 3d8, 1d8 from having a prowess of 4, and 2d8 from being in soul mode. Give me your buffs.
I'll
Got it.
give you a point of fate. End of
Alrighty.
sentence.
Giving me another d6.
So that no, I think that would turn
one into a d12.
One of you, into a d12. Yeah,
gotcha.
Is there a way that I can essentially use vault for someone else, where it's like, because it's the same mechanics, where it's like, you know, you have the ground move suddenly and things go flying.
Yeah. Let me take a look at that ability here. Vault threshold. It's a threshold ability. Okay. If below a certain number. So I'm going to say you aren't below that number in finesse yet. It looks like you haven't spent any from your finesse pool. So sort of, you sort of could do that if you were in a position for that power to be activated right now, which doesn't look like it is. But you would be able to spend from finesse to juice Oromar's roll for sure.
All right, well, you got 2 tick marks coming at you.
Okay.
All right. So you're now rolling with 3d12s.
3d12s. Oh my gosh, I need to find more d12s. Give me a second. Let's find. I'll re-roll one of them. So that is an 8, a 7, and a 10.
8, a 7, and a 10. Okay. Oh, that's right. Holy cow. Oh my God. So yeah, that's 5 successes overall. Really, really successful action. It also grants you a point of fate, but yeah, describe this jump. What does it look like?
Yeah, I think a hand extends towards Jonnet and it's clasped. A hand extends towards Gable and it's clasped. We all simultaneously look towards the sky as Oromar crouches, and I think like the seams rip in like the thighs in his trousers as the muscles just kind of like bulge supernaturally as they then all simultaneously are pulled into the air, and we get like a huge like camera from an angle looking down shot of this island as we see the backs of the 3 of us close to the camera and this entire like spread of the island in chaos below us as we just hang there.
I love it. That is beautiful and dramatic. And I love that it is also accompanied by a single complication. which means the storm picks up even more furiously than it had before. And it has, in fact, picked up to the point where it is no longer safe to fly normally. Which means every roll for Metatron and really anyone flying a bird in the air will also incur a roll on the Uhuru death chart. But you are lifted up and out of range of the reach of the cutting stone who are on the ground. Like, as you reach this point in the air, you are immediately buffeted by extreme winds. You can see the water around you swirling, the clouds above you stretching down as a funnel is starting to form. This is not safe conditions. Like, you can see Metatron struggling to fly, but you are at least away from the cutting stones. We are now going to move to Rusalka, as you can see the river start to reach out towards this darkness and draw in the cutting stone towards herself. You can see that, like, she is pulling the river in, and because, like, you are now looking above the river, which is alight with silver fire, you can see how the tendrils of the river are retracting. And because you can perceive supernatural things, you are able to perceive the unnatural screams of the cutting stone as the dark tendrils, the inky tendrils of the river, grab at their limbs and pull them into the water. Rusalka, like, draws one cutting stone towards her as she is also enduring the flames of the river. This being is, like, being cooked by these fires that Rusalka holds. The fire and water creep up this creature's body towards its hood, towards the blankness of its face and mouth, and the waters pour inside each orifice as Rusalka drowns it from the inside with this silver fire. You can see the rage and the despised hatred in her eyes as she chokes this being with supernatural flames.
I think Gable, like, while we're airborne, just wants to embiggen the fire a little bit to give us a little bit more of an updraft. As much as he can.
Cool.
And also more burning. So I think I'll try and do another simple magic roll.
Roll it. Yeah. We're in a high stakes situation. You are against two high stakes dice, but
that's two 12s.
Roll that magic. So it's two d12s. Yeah.
Yeah. Golly. 5, 5, 6, 4.
Okay.
All right.
Music's got
And
me
those are on
feeling.
d8s.
Yes.
You are definitely successful.
Yes.
With two successes. You also have two opportunities. Would you like to describe for me what those opportunities are? Do you want to focus on the success for now?
I think at least one of the opportunities is that it's not raining super hard, so we can navigate a little bit
Cause
better.
a break in the clouds.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I like the idea that the fury of the flames that you stir up below actually, like, causes, like, it complicates the weather patterns more, but actually in a way that calms down the winds that are swirling around you right now. I think soon what the heat and fire that is radiating off of this river is going to do is actually spur on this tornado, because it's that heat meeting the cold that is caused by the presence of the cutting stone and also the general fury of the storm around it. But it temporarily creates this eye for the storm that stabilizes it. And I think we're going to say for the next 2 rounds, Metatron does not have to worry about those rolls in the Uhuru death chart. That feels like a very appropriate opportunity. But tell me about your success and how the flames change.
Nathan, tell me about, like, what the featherweave coat kind of looks like, or how it's keeping us up.
Yeah, so it's the featherweave that Jonnet a while ago unraveled into thread that has been embroidered into patterns across the coat, almost kind of like a circuit through it. It's a consistent line, and you can see it like glowing in the back of the coat as it's now heated up with the heat from Gable. We haven't experimented with how much weight it can carry. But we do know that, featherweave can lift quite a lot as long as it's hot enough.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think this kind of happens almost simultaneously with the initial jump. It's like a big whoosh up. And what it does, it gets us kind of level in a sort of seatbelts pulled up by the scruff of our collars sort of way, level with Nodoze. So if we wanted to like grab onto him, Metatron, we could.
I am going to say that, Nathan, what is happening metaphysically? The weight of your sin is scorching hot right now. Like, in the way that this flame has picked up, Oromar is going through it, probably struggling to think for the pain that he is experiencing. However, from the outside, the silver flames that were around him have died away and gold flames have replaced them. Oromar looks as though he has a halo behind him. His locks pick up from the heat of the flames around him, and they fan out. The many gold and jewels that are in his hair all catch the magnificent light, as indeed he stops descending and merely hovers in the air, struggling with the weight of Gable and Jonnet, and of course his own impressive frame. Either side of him, there is no danger that he is to be pulled down right now. He looks like a magnificent figure, even if inside he is screaming from the touch of the fire.
I think Nodoze actually, having now encountered human Oromar and human Oromar's expressions, looks at this version of Oromar through the rain, where the body is on autopilot and the face is implacable once again, and that's almost worse. This is the pirate that has come back from death to regain humanity and warmth, and there is no warmth in that face, despite how absurdly hot it is now suddenly up here.
Yeah, I think Nodoze, even from where he is, like, can feel the touch of the heat against his soul and the sins that he has committed in his life. Sovereign's blood. Hurry, Metatron, we must move. I think Metatron is also probably struggling with his own sins.
Considering, yes.
There is like...
Looking back to baby bird.
Yeah, we cut back to like a baby bird time when Metatron was just being raised by Gable, and Gable said, no, these treats are not for you. And Metatron, when he was not being observed, did go out and eat like one of the treats. Like, maybe it was just a steak that Gable had gotten for dinner for themselves. And yeah, just gulped that down really quick. And like, now the touch of that sin, even this far in the future, like... the bird is dealing with it, but like Metatron powerfully pumps its wings and moves forward towards this collection of these three to help.
Skyjacks.
Tyler, feels like you got to turn in here.
Yeah, sure. All right, so Jonnet catches Metatron sort of like turn and like aim for them, and I think he's kind of doing the math on, is like, all right, this could be crazy. This could be a hard thing to thread to needle to thread, and so he's going to grab his Kusarigama, and then he's going to reverse the way in which he's holding it. So I'd say that there's probably like a small a bit of like metal bar before you get to the sickle side of the Kasarigama. He's going to grab that bar, and instead with like the hilt, he's going to throw the hilt out to Nodoze to be like, catch this, to try and like grab it and then like pull them in.
I will say Kasarigamas do have two sides, and one of them doesn't have a blade on it. It's just
I know.
So
But I don't want to throw the sickle side at Nodoze and Metatron. So he's going to grab the sickle side. He's a martyr. He's a hero.
Gotcha. Okay.
He's on purpose.
So if nothing else, he's just going to bonk him.
Yeah, that feels like that is either prowess or finesse, whichever you would prefer.
Well, I've got more finesse than I've got prow. Oh, wait, no, we're going all of prowess. Hang on, I just saw Yeah, I'm going to give four counts of prowess, and we're going to shoot this shot. So those are D8s, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I've got 3, and then those get upgraded to 12?
Yes.
Okay. Dope.
Damn, John has got a lot of fucking prowess. Holy shit.
Prowess?
Am I over skilled? No, I don't.
You are the strongest boy.
I don't think you're over skilled.
Okay.
You just put a lot of prowess instead of intellect, which I think is interesting based on Jonathan's character.
Yeah. I'm remembering the choices that I made. All right, so then so that is these are all on 12s, but we've got a 5, a 2, and an 11.
Okay. Damn. All right. Okay, so you got 3 opportunities out of this. You also got 2 successes out of this. It's only 2 opportunities, excuse me, because one does cancel out the complication that I rolled. This is really successful. I think everything comes together. Like, the winds are strong, so you really have to shoot this chain out at like a high speed. I think Jonnet, in like swinging the weight to prepare for this, like you can feel just how strong the wind is and just how much you have to like gather momentum in order to get it to shoot forward at all. And like the danger here is like the links of the chain getting caught like mid throw and just falling short. So perhaps there is even like a moment where like Jonnet's eye, like the magic of Jonnet's eye pulses, and we can see like the light cascade down his arm into his swing.
It's very Gears of War when you're trying to like throw a frag grenade and you just see the line.
Yeah, that line just like extending out farther and farther until like you reach a point where it like holds and like it sails through the air, and the wind really does come at it. Like you can see partway through the throw, the ways the like chain is starting to become slack because of how hard the wind is hitting it. But Nodoze lunges forward in the saddle and grabs hold. I think he actually like has to basically climb out of the saddle and like lash the like safety line around one arm so that he could like jump off the bird and grab Jonnet's throw. But he has you secure now. Like he starts to climb himself back onto the bird as Metatron banks to fly another circle around your group, and you have a secure line to Metatron. As long as the captain can hold you and Nodoze can like hold that chain and Jonnet can hold that chain, you should be able to be pulled to safety by Metatron.
There are so many failure points in this chain. So yeah, I think as he's throwing it, he like, gestures to the captain is like, hang on tight. And so he throws it. And then I think in Nodoze grabbing it, there's like a very much like a jerking forward of like, and so I think that sort of tests the captain's grip, which I assume holds, but yeah.
Well, there are definitely opportunities to go around. So I kind of think that, yeah, the captain's grip does hold. As like Gable, who, being such a physically powerful being, you might expect would be part of this effort to pull people together. But Gable has to concentrate their magical power to keep the captain aloft. It takes a lot to channel power into this fire to make the heat strong enough to keep them all like buoyant in the air, which is a great opportunity for us to cut back over to the Uhuru, because we have an effort to load up peat onto the ship that will give you enough peat to make your journey easier than it would be without that peat. But we also have a furnace that needs to be lit in order for the Uhuru to truly take flight. And not enough attention has been paid to the furnace. And also, our main crew is now out of threat from the cutting stone. The cutting stone's on the ground. Jonnet, Gable, and the captain are in the air. So there's not danger there. However, the crew members who are outside of the ship and the crew members who are aboard the deck, they face the wrath of the stone. So we see Nodoze going through the corridors and hallways aboard the Uhuru down to the meticulously kept bathrooms on the lower decks of the Uhuru. He gently pushes open the balsa wood door and is met not just with the beautiful visage of the marbled bathroom with beautiful dark wood paneled walls and many carved and molded sconces and beautiful pipeworks aboard the Uhuru, but also with Bathroom Barry, the ship's quartermaster and bathroom attendant, pointing at an identical copy of Bathroom Barry, the ship's quartermaster and bathroom attendant.
I'm the real Bathroom Barry. Shoot him.
Bathroom Barry.
I was hoping to make use of the facilities. I don't. It's not exactly an urgent matter, but I don't know that
leave. You can't leave.
Oh, I don't know that I have time to deal with all of this.
Nodoze, you cannot leave. All right, this is I knew this day would come. In order for me to work so quickly and diligently with all the balsa wood and materials here, I had to clone myself. And so there
means, Nodoze, please make yourself at home and use the facilities. We'll be here resolving.
All right, right now I am inclined to just believe one of you, because that does seem like the quickest route to, again, the sort of pressing reason that I came here, which is bathroom related.
Yes.
So,
so Nodoze, take out your javelin and javelin this other Barry, this fake Barry.
You
Please.
don't need to do that. All you just need to do is settle down and enjoy your time here. Well, we have a discussion about the person who needs to be decommissioned. You've been slacking, Bathroom Barry. I wouldn't clone somebody like you. You're not up to standards.
I am not a clone. I am the original, the OG Barry. All right. And at that, he takes out a knife that is clearly carved out of balsa wood. And I'm prepared to fight to the death for what is mine.
Okay. If your duties are too numerous for you to handle on your own, you can delegate. There are other people aboard the crew, and you technically occupy like a position of authority. There's no need to clone yourself or anything like that to see your duties done, Barry.
This would be a delightful lesson for us to have learned before we went on this Faustian bargain that we set ourselves on, but ultimately...
Why is your clone slightly southern? That's what I want to know. That's where I'm at.
It's the berries degrade over time. All right, if they start out smooth, and then at a certain point it becomes southern, and that's when they start to get ideas, and that's usually when it's a good idea to get rid of them, which I'm sorry, but I have to do. And he turns the knife back on the clone berry. Stand down.
Barry, I know all of your moves. And the moment that you've kind of turned round, there is a similar mirror image pose of this bathroom Barry with the same kind of balsa wood knife held point to point.
Now, I'm aware that every question I ask is one more step away from the bathroom that I, again, did come here to use, and it wasn't an urgent issue initially, but
by all means
is getting more urgent by the sec. How many clones in are we? Did it jump to Southern right away? Was there another variation on Bathroom Berry before we got here?
Oh, well, it did start immediately with Southern, but through time and research and crafting with Dref, we managed to push out the Southern phase by months. And that it was a happy life. We could have the berries we needed to get the work that needed to be done, and then we had time to dispose of them. But now the southerning is happening faster. And this is all being delivered while there is like matched knife fighting all over. There's sparks being flown from the balsa wood knives.
Over time, because the bathroom is so large, and we continue to move down this kind of like endless corridor of various stalls and baths available, and eventually there is a privacy curtain for what has been for the longest time marked as the private bathroom, and as far as nobody knows, and nobody's used it. You want to know how many previous berries there were?
Don't do this. Don't do this.
Not necessarily. Again, mostly my interest is related to using the facilities, but I have been kind of swept up in all of this, and it feels like you're going to reveal something to me anyway.
Let me tell you how many berries I have been fighting.
Sure. Fine. Yes, please.
Pulling back the private bathroom curtain for a floor-to-ceiling clear glassed tube of just multiple berries, innumerable and suspended animation within.
It feels like this adds a lot of weight to the ship, Barry. I know it's not my department. I know technically you are higher up on me in the order of command, but it just feels like this is a lot of weight to dedicate to one part of the ship, one set of duties aboard the ship.
Each of these berries has lived and died for you, Nodoze.
Get back in that tube where you belong.
Never. I will avenge my brethren.
I thought we disposed of the previous berries. You put them in tubes?
They're in tubes until we port.
So this is just how many berries have been disposed of between ports.
In the last fortnight, yes.
Barry, buddy, come on.
You have to free us.
You've gotta be able to just take a half step out of this and just come on and see it the way that I'm seeing it. Can you do that?
Do you want your bathrooms this clean? And then they both take a perfect pause so we can all take in the beauty and majesty of this marble bathroom. And then they start back up again. Do you want the bathrooms this clean?
Okay, admittedly, yes, I do. There is no part of me that wants us to return to the way bathrooms were before and the way bathrooms have been on other ships that I have experienced. But
now you know the truth, Nodoze. You have two options. You can either fight for the berries that have been slain in this illicit, disgusting ritual that has been wrought, or you can perish before you can spread the word.
I will say though, it is an important distinction. The berries that are in that tube are not technically dead. All right, they are in a state of they are a frozen state of cryo sleep. They will be disposed and when we get to port, but as they could pop off at a moment's notice, which is why I need to slay you, and you can't be.
But what of their souls, Barry?
My choice is to either have clean bathrooms or right the cosmic injustice that has been written by creating lives just to be disposed of, what looks like in the countless dozens. Is that what I'm to understand?
You're picking up what we're putting down, yeah?
All right, Nodoze throws the spear directly into the chest of the clone Barry. Look, man, you gotta sort out your shit, okay?
I will. We just have to get rid of. We gotta get to port, and I'm gonna get rid of this last cryo tube, and then I'm going straight. Back to the way it was.
Lurid pink ichor splatters across the ground from the back of slain Barry as it walks across the perfect tiled floor over to Nodoze.
Before I go,
Yeah.
your short collar is askew.
And he adjusts it slightly and then slumps to his knees.
Beautiful.
Look, man, I know you went on a vacation recently, but we gotta figure out something, because you are you're in way too deep. Way too deep.
No.
It says as he's disappearing in one of the stalls and closes the door.
No, it's fine. It's fine. See, his blood is also a cleaning solution. I'll clean it up. It'll be gone by the time you get out. Don't tell Gable. Don't tell Captain.
Campaign Skyjacks is a One Shot Network production.